Welcome back to the Humble Rising podcast. I am your host, Arivi Vargas, and this episode that we're bringing to you today is close to my heart because I got to sit down with two of my besties, Carla and Diana, and they joined the podcast, I believe, episodes 65 and 66, called Women Sharing Life Lessons. That was a few years ago. And now they're back on the podcast. We have been with each other for years, since college, through careers, motherhood, creative work, and everything you can imagine in between. And this conversation felt like being back at one of our retiros, our retreats that we have a few times. We try to push it to 3 times a year if we can swing it. But there's plenty of laughter and fun. And there's a lot of real talk about what life has been like for us and what we just think about what's happening in our lives at the moment. Just like as if you were watching us or listening to us or observing us talking at one of our many, many conversations or retreats that we have. We talk about in this conversation what it really looks like to chase your dreams and honor your values and your season of life while parenting and growing as people and really wanting to grow as a person. We talk about how do you know when to say yes or no to opportunities? How do you tell the difference between resistance and a true need for rest? How do you keep showing up for your passions even when life feels like there's a lot going on? And you have a lot of responsibilities and you have a lot of obligations. How do you really stop the productivity chase and focus on being in the process and focus on the journey? And we unpack that a lot because we laugh when we say that. It's like being in the journey and enjoy the process, but it's hard to do that. And so we talk about that. And of course, we talk more about the importance of friendship and the importance of community and family and the resourcefulness of our Latino culture. Diana is Puerto Rican, Carla and I are both Dominican, and so obviously Latinidad is at the core of who we are. This conversation, as do all the conversations I have with Dee and Carla, I call her Dee all the time, whether through text, we have a Zoom call, FaceTime, or in person, reminded me of how powerful it is to grow alongside people who really know you and know the different versions of you and who have seen the different versions of you as you get older and inspire you and ground you at the same time, right? Because for me, Kalendi are two of my friends that keep me accountable. They'll challenge me. They're honest with me. They keep it real with me, but they also give me grace. And so that's really helpful to have both things. So I hope this episode feels like a reminder that you don't have to grow alone. You don't have to do things alone. And that the best kind of success is the one that really is rooted in more connection, more joy, and staying true to who you are and to yourself. Here's my conversation with Dee and Carla. It's like when you sign up for like a networking event or something.
Anything like that.
You say, I really wanted to go because I know that it will be helpful to me. And then the day of, this happens to me every time. The day of, I'm like, I don't want to drive into the city. I'm like 3 minutes from the city. I don't want to drive into the city. It's 5 o'clock. I'm going to hit all this traffic. I don't want to go. And every time I go, I'm telling you, every time I go, I meet at least one person that I'm like,
yeah, same here.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm going deep into like listening to my body right now. So that's giving me a hard time because like you said, like sometimes you come into that resistance with something that's so important to you. So finding that balance between, oh, is this resistance from like coming from somewhere else, or am I tired, or myself? It's so hard. It's so hard.
But how do you tell the difference, Carla, then? How do you tell the difference?
I'm still learning to tell the difference, honestly. But everything, actually, I think it was a book that you recommended. It was like everything is a choice, right? So you have free will. So you think about that choice and you say, okay, what are the consequences of making that choice? Can you deal with the consequences?
Meditations for mortals.
Meditations
for mortals.
Yes. 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 So what are the consequences of that? Like, I'm really tired right now, but I have a commitment to this play that I signed up for, right? I'm like tired during the day from working and parenting and doing all the things and taking care of myself. Now I have to go to rehearsal, but I signed up for this. Okay, what are the consequences of not going, right? Oh, I made a commitment. So like I'm letting down a whole bunch of people. What are the consequences of going? Okay, I'll be tired. Maybe I'll skip my workout in the morning and do it in the afternoon so I can sleep in. So it's about juggling that, I think, right now for me and playing with that. Of course, last week I had this really huge headache and I couldn't make it to my acting class. And the mental hurdles that happened in my head, like I had to tell myself, like, it's okay, you'll make it up next class. But I was so grateful to have that extra time to sleep and that I made that decision, because then the next day I was brand new. Like I was on the brink of getting sick, of like getting some kind of virusy thing. And I was like, all right, chill out. What are the consequences of not making it? All right, then that means your scene partner won't make that scene today, won't do that scene. All right, send them a message. Let's see. Let's do it next week then, because I was really excited about that scene. And that's okay. Like those are the consequences of it, right? Talking to my teacher, talking to my scene partner. But I was glad I listened to my body because I needed that rest during that week. So I'm still playing around with it. I'm still trying to figure out what's the balance, what's the middle ground, what's my head and what's my body.
Yeah. But it also, but you know, you're not a person who is going to commit to something and then be like, I'm tired today. Like you really have to be tired, like physically tired, or something is off in your body. So I there, you know, there's this, I'll just say this. There are people who are like that, who are like, I'm always tired. I'm always exhausted. So I commit to something, but I don't follow through. And they constantly don't follow through on things. Or they constantly register for things and they don't show up. Like that is not what we're talking about. I think there's a difference when people trust, oh no, if Carla can't make it, like something's up with her because you know she'd be here. Like that's different.
Right. I have to remind myself of that a lot. And even going through therapy, even after I had my surgery for my hip labral tear, the therapist.
Yo, I still can't believe that you had hip surgery. No, because that recovery is crazy.
It was crazy. And only looking back does it feel that way, because maybe right after I was done with crutches, I was like, all right, let me go for a long walk. Like, who does that? God, yeah, this is where knowing yourself really comes into play, and rely on your community, right? People to be honest with you, because I remember my therapist being like, the physical therapist at the time, being like, your problem isn't going to be doing the exercises. Your problem is going to be overdoing it. You know, that's stuck in my head. I was like, do you know my life? Is that my life? Are you in my head? Are you in my head?
It's true.
With every other mental therapist, like a person, like a talk therapist, that's been what they've been trying to communicate to me. And when I fall into that, like, oh, who am I letting down? That sort of narrative, I have to go back to, wait a second, Carla, that's not who you are. That's, you really show up all the time, and your thing is overdoing it. So how do I find balance, right?
Yes.
But it's a constant showing up and a constant work and a constant like talking to myself through about that.
And reminding yourself of what's true and not true. You know, that Byron Katie work, right? Like, is this true? What's the evidence that it's true? How do I show up when I think it's true? What if it wasn't true? You know?
Yeah.
There are so many things that we think that are just not freaking true. And they spiral, and then but I have to go, and then but I don't want to go, but I can't go. And then you just spiral and it doesn't help you. And I find that this is so interesting. It's always the people who overdo it, who are the most worried about not showing up or not doing the thing. But they always are the most extreme people who do everything. Like when I talk to a lot of women who are in these like leadership positions, and sometimes they struggle with, saying what they think in meetings, like really contributing. And they're worried about how things are going to come across. Like, am I going to come across too strong? And I say, it's not possible for you to come across too strong or overdo it, because you're so cautious already. Like you're so cautious. There's just no way you're going to come across that way because they're thinking of the people that they're in the meetings with who come across like that. And they're like, I don't want to come across like that because that's not who I am. And I'm like, you will not, because you are so cautious and careful about being thoughtful and saying the right thing. There's no way you're going to sound like an a-hole. You're just not going to do it. But it's like, again, it's like those people who are overly cautious. You overdo it. You're most worried about what people are going to think or what you're going to think about yourself if you don't do the thing.
Yeah, it's already on your radar, so that you can't do that if it's already on your radar. It was like I saw a video the other day, and it was like, I don't know, something that narcissists are trending, like what is a narcissist? And I was like, oh my God, is that me? Am I a narcissist?
I mean, no, you are not. We're not even.
This is a business.
Trust me, I know of you. You are.
Yes.
But has that happened to you guys when you see a video online and it sort of applies to you? Everything can apply to you.
It's like the horoscope, right? You're like, I guess.
Yes.
No, but I do think Scorpio, like for me, Scorpio, they're on. Like the definition of a Scorpio, I'm like, that is me.
Yeah. Same for Virgo.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of. And I'm just like a big like horoscope person, but
I know.
Interestingly enough, the other Aquariuses that I meet, I'm like, we kind of have a similarity.
But the horoscope is different to me. Like, okay, predicting something, that's tough. But the horoscope is different to me than the profile of your zodiac sign. Like I know other Scorpios too, and I'm like, we're all the same. We're all the same. Not all the same, but similar.
Yeah, there's elements there. Yeah.
Yes.
Even just like the prediction part of it, I agree that the profile is spot on. Even my sister's like, you're such a Virgo, because I live in my head. And I mean, thank God for you guys, because
Beyonce a Virgo.
Beyonce's a Virgo.
Oh, I mean, performer.
I mean, we might be the same person.
Similar.
But yeah, a lot of these videos can apply to anyone, right? So I was looking at the narcissist one, and I'm like, wait, okay. And I think somebody wrote a comment, or like maybe another video that I watched, and it was like, if you're asking the question, am I a narcissist? Then you're not a narcissist.
Really not.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, is that they're like not really into self-identifying like that.
Yeah.
They're like kind of into like, no, I'm definitely not a person.
But that's the mind, right? Do we know ourselves?
Yeah.
So then
we can never fully know ourselves.
I had a question before, like, okay, so we were talking about like once you make a commitment, right? Like analyzing where you're at mentally and physically and determining, in those rare moments that you don't feel up to. But like what
Rare.
Arguably every time, but
It's
like,
but
saying, like,
think about your work. Do you think about like you writing your books, right? Carla's acting and her work and all the things, like my stuff. It's not just rare. Like it's often that I'm like, I feel like doing it.
it's every time.
Yeah.
It's rare. It's rare in the sense of like where you actually are debating, like 5% where you're really like, I really don't know. Like you always have a resistance to it.
Yes.
Like the times that you really are debating going or not, like for a real reason, for like, not like you were saying, like, just like, I just like rather sit and watch TV, but like a legit reason of like listening to your body, or like something else that's equally as competitive in your head of like importance. But like, what about just like committing in the first place? Because that's kind of also what I think, I guess I'm thinking about now, in addition to what you were saying, is what's the metric that you use to say yes or say no to things? Because I think there's that like, if I say no to this, am I going to be irrelevant? Is this opportunity going to come up again? Like what is the opportunity cost? Which is like another way of what you were saying before. Like, what is the opportunity cost of not doing this or doing this, right? Like, because you kind of know that if you say yes to everything, you'll get some sort of benefit out of it. Like you were saying, ADB, right? We're going to get something. You're going to meet somebody. I'm always learning, right? Like, so I'll learn from anything. I will pick up something to learn from no matter where I go. So I know that's like almost, in the bag, that I'm going to learn something. So like, that's always competing in my brain of, do I go? I'm going to, whether I want to or not, but like, I know this will be beneficial for me. So then, but then like I say yes to everything. and then it's like a lot, right? Like it's positive and it's beneficial, but it just feels like a lot, and I don't want to take the joys of the things that I do enjoy, even though I want to do all those things. So all of that said is like, how do you make that determination of doing things or not, saying yes or saying no to things?
I mean, the one thing that you said is like, what's your metric for making the decision? Like, what's your criteria? I mean, I call that your decision-making filter, right? So you have, and you know this, you both do this. You have a clear sense of what's most important to you at this time in your life when you have young children and you have things that you're really passionate about outside of your full-time job, which the thing that you're passionate about outside of your full-time job and your children are like another full-time job plus, right? And you have all the other responsibilities you have. And it's really being really, really clear that at this time in my life, this is what's really most important to me. Even though I always say this, you do want to do all these other things. Like you actually would get excited about it. The problem is that you don't have the capacity that matches the excitement. You actually don't have the capacity. And sometimes what I find is people have to test their threshold to know what the capacity is. Like take on to the thing you're excited about and then see how that works for you capacity wise. Because you don't have, I always say this to people, you know, when they become parents, I was like, you no longer have the same 24 hours in the day that you did before. You simply don't. So you have to be just so much more selective about how you use your energy. Because if you don't pay attention, it is going to get depleted and you will be able to do nothing. So for me, the decision-making filter has always been, like the metric you're talking about of what to commit to has always been, what are my core things that are most important to me, the 3 things most important to me right now. And even with like the business, I'll get opportunities to speak, but they're not paid. And I say no. I've only done it. I've done it a few times where it is like my exact audience. It is like exactly who I would want to talk to. And there's something that is deeply personal about the mission of the group that I'm like, I will do it for free. But things like that where I want to, but I don't have the capacity. Given my 2 bouts of laryngitis, when I actually can't do it, but also I care so much when I do these things. Like I prep so much, I can't stretch myself too thin. But other things like, you know, how many people reach out to me about, hey, I really want to help you expand your YouTube channel and expand this for you and do this for you. And yeah, YouTube and like a course and all those kinds of online things that people are doing right now and blowing up with, they're important to me, but they're not the most important to me. So I have them on like a 5-year, 10-year track. So when I get inundated with the marketing, we've talked about this before, of like social media marketing to you, all the things that you need that tell you you're not enough the way you are and you need all these things to buy to make you feel better about yourself. It's the same thing with like business, telling you all the things you need to make yourself run more efficient, to be more productive, to make more money. You have to be super clear about, nope, I'm not doing that. Nope, I'm not doing that. I'm focused on these 1, 2, 3 things. Because if I can focus here, then I know I'm going to get the benefit. Even like social media with LinkedIn, I used to be obsessive about, I have to post 5 times a week. And now I post when I'm doing something, I have something helpful to share, but I'm not so regimented because what it was doing, it was taking me away from the work that was revenue generating. And so like, again, just being, even though I want to share on LinkedIn all the time, but I don't have the capacity. So I'm focusing on the right things right now. And I do think what is important for me is I've always had like a coach or a consultant helping me to like keep me on track, but also to remind me, if you don't sign up for that course, because be like you, I love learning. But what happens, we get stuck in learning and reading and shit and wanting all the information. And then we're not doing. You're not like living the thing, which he talks about in Meditations for Mortals. He's like, we want to learn everything, all the information, but you gain the most information out of doing and living, and you're never going to know everything. And that's okay.
And being okay with that fear, right? Because it's scary to do it without having the stuff, or you think that you need the stuff, right?
Yes.
And you get better as you go along.
It's a woman thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need to have 90% of the info before we do anything, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. Something about like LinkedIn that I noticed. You know how sometimes they send you like job offers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a constant thing. There was I was just browsing, and there was one that said something about women wait until they have all the qualifications before applying for the job, whereas others do not. So go. Even if you don't have all the qualifications, just jump for it and like go after it.
Yep.
I was like, oh, thank God for that
That was in,
disclaimer.
I think that was in Confidence Code, that book, Confidence Code.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
So about that.
That's an old book. When is that? Like
I mean,
20
it's-
years?
No, not that long. I
Okay.
don't think so. I think maybe 5 or 8 years.
Yeah.
I also don't have a sense of time because of COVID.
I think that's a good entry point book.
It is. It's good just to get your mind about the theory and just
Okay.
your mind about
Does
it.
this happen to you guys though, that you read some, I mean, you guys are better than this than me in conversations with you, but you read some books and you get the gist of it, but you forget if you read it or not.
Yeah, and it's also because sometimes you guys talk about books, so I feel like I'm there and I did it too. But that happens that's happened a lot in my childhood. And my friends talking about things so many times, and you're like, I read it too. I can swear I was there.
It's like, I think that show before. Yeah, 100%.
No, but those little things you were talking about, kind of like, okay, Meditations for Mortals, right? The book that says you can do anything you want. You just have to be okay with the consequence. Everything has a price. Everything has a trade-off. That is a frame you can use for anything when you're making
it's so freeing too.
Yes.
It's so freeing. It's like,
but in his point, D, so you have to read this. So his point, it's a book, but I listen to it every day.
Okay.
You read a chapter or you listen to a chapter a day, or like a section of the chapter a day.
and it's 15 minutes. So it's literally like a meditation, or maybe you can do it after your
It's
meditation.
easy. Yes.
Yeah.
But he talks about this idea of when you accept that you will never, ever finish your to-do list. It is not a possible thing to do. That is so freeing too, because you're not chasing anything anymore. You're just saying, I'm going to do what I can today. And he says, yes, there are deadlines. He says, yes, it depends on your industry. It depends on all those things. But the truth is that you still will never finish your to-do list, because we say, let me finish my to-do list and then I'll go relax. Let me finish my to-do list and then I'll go do this. Then I'll call my friend.
Or it'll be
Then I'll go visit. Yeah.
Then I'll do what I love. Then I'll work on that monologue. Then what?
It'll never happen. He's like, you have to focus
more
on
things
this.
will always be added. You know, it's interesting. It's kind of like one of the main reason why I don't do bucket lists anymore is because when I was in Scotland, I went 2 years ago with my mother and my sister. I was talking to this guy. He was our tour guide, and he was mentioning how in Scotland they have these hills they call them Munros, MUNRO. But there's people who are hikers, right? So their goal is to hike every Munro in the country, right? And so they have books and with lists of all the Munros in the country, and then there's people who form groups or do it individually, and their goal is to knock off every one of them. And I was like, oh, you don't have one of those books, so you don't keep track of it. He's like, I did, and then I stopped after a couple of years, and I was like, why? And he was like, because it was making me more frustrated, and it was taking all the joy out of actually doing each hike, because there was a whole list of hikes that I didn't do. So he's like, I would cross out 3 and then there was 40 left. And I would feel like I'm either never going to get to all of them, or I'm not present when I am hiking the one I'm at, because I'm just thinking about, I have to do the next one and the next one and the next one. And I was like, damn, Scotty, that's deep, And, and it just kind of made me think of how I'm sure a lot of us do it, but how with to-do lists also, you're just constantly in the next, and it's a little bit different because it's most of your to-do list isn't always enjoyable things necessarily, but it's still that idea of you're never finished, and then and also if it is an enjoyable thing, then you're not enjoying the process as you go. It's just kind of a quest to be done with it. And so what is then the point? I guess the point is just to say you did these things, but then is it about the journey or just the destination, So I thought that was interesting.
That's a good one, D. Is it the journey or the destination? It's something so simple. It's we forget.
Hard.
You have to, right? It's so hard. I always think of priorities. I remember you shared a sort of a financial spreadsheet, and it's something about first listing your values and your priorities and all that, and that helped me organize my finances a little bit, right? But it applies to life as well. What are you prioritizing? That's what you were talking about also, Adivi. But sometimes it's I this summer I went to a writers retreat, right? And I know both of you are writers, and I'm like, oh, I don't see myself as a writer, but all right, let's play around with this. And I have stories to tell. I have stories to tell, just like one of us have a story to tell. I love to act. I love to dance. There's a lot of things about life that I love. And it's like, how can I do all these things, right? But I think I was thinking in too much of a restricted way, like fitting in a box instead of we're like water. We can do all these things at the same time with our limitations also at EV. But sometimes when the excitement gets too much and I want to do too much, sitting in silence, being with nature, especially on the beach, it's like things become clearer to me, like what's important to me, right? Yes, my 2-year-old takes up a lot of my time, but it's like I want to find joy with him. That's really important to me. I can also move my body during that time. So it's not like I have to schedule a workout. That can be my workout time as well. I say that to say that sometimes I'm guilty of that, of putting like 35,000 things on my to-do list. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, what's the point of living? Like, what is this? I checked off. And then tomorrow we do this again, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, what's bringing me joy? So I'm in the process of shifting from that doing to the being, right? And that means checking in with myself a lot, sitting in silence, sitting in nature, going back to myself, because the outside can get me really excited and really wrapped up. I'm also working on a book. It's a children's book.
No.
And I have a draft.
God.
Yes. I have a draft, but I have to play around with it.
Yes.
Can you tell us about it? Can you tell us?
I can't wait.
It's I guess it started out of that writer's retreat. There's a book and there's a poem, but I know it feels like it's like two realms, but it's like stories that want to come out, right? So whether it becomes a published piece or not, I don't know, and I'm not putting that pressure on myself right now, right? But it has to do with my childhood self. I was always like a very active child, and I loved baseball, like loved baseball. I was also really competitive. So I have a younger brother, as you guys know, who's 2 years younger than me. And my joy in life at that time was beating him in anything he did. Like,
Wait, what siblings didn't want to beat
That's true.
the other? You know,
That's true.
Right?
But for me, it was personal on the fact that like he's a boy, and usually in our culture, boys, they're stronger, they're faster. Yeah, no, I can beat him. I'm faster. Let's go down the streets of the Bronx. Let's go up this hill. Let's see who can throw this ball faster. All right. So we were in a park, and my mom's friend let her know about a baseball league. And I was like, baseball? I want to go. I need to sign up for this baseball thing, right? My brother was less excited than me. He was like, oh, whatever. So we go to the tryouts, and they're like, oh, no, girls aren't allowed. Like, you're a girl, so you can't, whatever. But you can be a cheerleader. I was like, what is this?
Yo, back then they didn't care. They were like, no.
I'm going to cheer my brother on with like whatever. That made me so upset. So in this children's book, it's sort of that experience.
Zoe's very invested in the story. She's
Yeah?
like,
Oh my God.
she's like, wait, why does she have to be a cheerleader? I'm like, oh, girl, you don't want. Trying to hold this down, girl. I'm not greatest.
I need her to read this book. She's going to be my first reader. Zoe, you hear that? You're going to be my first reader.
Of the
I mean, I ended up being, okay, so this book is informed on that. It's like sort of like that story. But in the story, okay, the girl is similar to me, where she loves baseball, but she goes to school. She hears about this tryout. She gets teased on the playground. Some boys saying, no, it's only for boys, blah, blah, blah. But she has a badass grandmother who watches baseball, who watches wrestling, who does not conform, and encourages her to go and try out. And she goes and she tries out. And, she has these like moments of uncertainty and like, can I do this? And then bam, she like makes it. She like hits a home run. I haven't figured that part out yet. But she makes it. She makes it on the team, and she was one of the first.
And I love that. And I think it's like not even about, I think it's actually not about the home run. I think like the reason why I'm saying this is because like me and Zoe, we were talking a lot about this in the last year or two, like as she's gotten into sports, and there's like that gender dynamic that prevails, And like I was telling her about like my experience with playing, basketball in Braddock Park and having to prove yourself triple the amount of times to anybody, right? But like I think it's not about the home run because it's what I've been working on is like about the progress. Number one, it's about like pushing yourself to do something that you might be the only one doing it and just pushing yourself to try, even if you make it, if you don't make it. And like also pushing yourself to be better, like it can't just be just because you're the only one that you make the team. Like you have to also push yourself and like continue to practice and get better and like just compare yourself against yourself. So like there's a lot of lessons, and then like over time, it might be a home run over time, it might be a single, it might be a double, whatever. But even just like getting out there is impressive. Just like there's a lot of lessons in that story that you told that I think would really, really resonate with kids, like especially this age, probably younger, but like from 8 to 14, any age,
Yeah.
really, to be honest. But like I feel like that's when it really starts, is like you start seeing the co-ed sports thing, and just that's where your confidence starts building, or lack thereof.
Yeah, especially in our cultures in particular.
Mhm.
One of the main characters in the story is this grandmother, and it's modeled after my two grandmothers. Uh,
Mhm.
my maternal grandmother was badass. Like she would watch wrestling, she smoked cigars, things that
Mhm.
weren't like, I guess, feminine, or what was considered feminine at the time, right? But to be that generation and be that badass is like, oh, you're breaking some like barriers there, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's highlighting a little bit of that too.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, do
Wow.
it. Do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No. Now I'm thinking of a different ending. Now that you're giving me this
I
insight.
mean, you can stick with your ending. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to always be like that big bang of a happy ending,
Yeah.
Because then if that doesn't happen, then it's like, oh, I wasn't successful either. Like there's lots of moments of success that happen throughout the process.
Yeah, for sure.
There's also that this mindset that I know sports can do for kids, and also just I think growing up first generation or growing up in an immigrant family does this too. But it's a different in sports because you're on a team and they're not family yet. They're your teammates who you're trying to achieve something together. Very specific, but this idea of proving yourself, like in your story, right? This idea of like I need to prove to myself that I can do this, and to prove to them that I'm deserving of this. And that is very much an experience that people have, like in sports and outside of sports, right? Of I'm one of the few. I have to prove that I deserve to be here because I feel like I'm really good and I actually have a natural hunger and drive to be better. And I know I have that. I have the work ethic. I'm going to try to be better. And I'm going to prove to you that I am better than all of you and that I deserve to be here. And sometimes you prove that and they still are like, no, you don't belong here, right? But I think there's like more, the story can be, it's like a lot of texture there. But when you pull
A
out,
lot of texture. I like that word.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think sports and I've always said this, especially for kids, it's such mindset work.
Yes.
Sports, it's not,
Yes,
yeah, it's physical,
100%.
but there's so much mindset work that goes on behind it. So I'm like, when I'm in the schools and they're pulling back like their gym time or their recess time, I'm like, do you know how like vital that is?
Mhm.
The mindset work is just so huge. Even it's like you guys said, like even if you don't make that home run, but you have to get over yourself and you have to like prove to yourself mostly that you can do this.
Because you're not good at first. You're not good at anything you do first time or
Yeah.
second time or third time, fourth
That's
time.
another big piece of the texture there, is like like you don't practice once and then you're like gonna hit a home run. Like you're gonna suck for a while.
Yeah.
When you compare yourself to your own growth of like how good were you yesterday and then this. Yeah, but that's some things young people it's not even young people, all of us struggle with that.
Yeah, at different times, right? But there's Huli plays baseball. And I'm gonna be honest, like watching 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds play baseball is freaking torture because the pitches are up in the sky. They're
Baseball's a slower sport in general.
And I'm sorry for everyone listening, and I'm Dominican, but I am not a big fan of baseball. I'm not, because it's so slow. And even when people are like, oh, let's go to a Red Sox game, I'm like, give my ticket to someone else because I can't do 9 innings. I can do 5, maybe.
It's faster now, though. It's faster.
No, they need like 2 outs, 2 balls. Then it can keep moving and like some more action, some more excitement.
He's out to revolutionize everything.
But so he's 10 now. And now he's on this like almost all Dominican team in Boston. And those kids are freaking beasts. They're like, I mean, I've gone to some of the parts of the games, right? Because I don't go to the whole thing. But let me tell you, what I've seen though, what I've seen when I've been there, from the short time I've been there, is Juli also has adjusted to a new team that's at a much higher level than a team that he's been playing at, right? So you look at him in the outfield, he's so focused. All the other kids are so focused. Also, the other kids are older than him. He's 10. He's on like a 12-year-old team. They're like really, really good. And he's watching them and they're not playing around. Like, this is baseball and we're Dominican. This is serious. This is life. Like, we need to be really good. And I've seen him change in that way of like him saying, I'm going out to practice my swing because I need to be better. He didn't have that kind of like a year or two ago. But now also the environment you're in and people at a higher level and you're like, I want to be good like that. I want to be better. And I think that is also not everybody is like that. Sees that and says, I want to be that, or has been maybe doing something for a while and then says, you know what? It's time for me to level up. Like, not everybody has that. And I think for your story, for like you as a child, right? Desiring to like, I'm going to be my brother, but also just like, I want to be really, really freaking good at this. Like, that is something I don't think everybody has that. I don't think you can teach that. I actually don't think you can teach that.
But kudos to you because you're nurturing that in Juli. I am pretty sure you give him his talks and that helps him like metabolize this in his head, like understand, okay, I just have to work hard.
Yes. Oh, I always talk about that. I'm like, you want to be good at anything? What do you got to do? He's like, practice. I'm like, yes. And then practice makes rest. We have a question, but it means you got to do it. You got to do the thing.
Question for you, because I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to Saturday baseball mornings. Is it really going to be that boring?
I think now.
I do think she's right. It does. Their sports take a turn around like 10 years old.
Yeah. Because I'm sorry. Even soccer, boo-hoo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the parents who love soccer, and I'm sorry for all the parents whose kids are 6 and their teams are crushing.
Wait a second.
I know.
But
No. Wait, because you guys keep changing the goalposts, right? Like, stories too. And you're like, wait.
Come on. They don't even put that kid in sports till he's like 7.
No. There's different, it's
goalposts
asking. So you said, when am I going to feel like a normal human again? And when are they going to be kind of a normal human? And I said, like, give or take 3.
Wait, I'm sorry, 3 years old?
Yeah. You'd agree? You disagree?
I think.
This is what I'm trying to talk about now.
You saw that. Time out. You saw the research. I have to actually read the study, but there's research out that says a mom doesn't feel like herself again, really, until 4 to 5 years after she gets
birth. That's true. That's kind of true. But I was saying in terms of the kid.
No. Wait.
Kid starts being like normal, like around.
A toddler at 3 is not normal. A toddler at 3 is irrational.
I can't remember. Jump on this, Ivy. I'm going to clarify it. First of all, you see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, a woman doesn't feel normal until 4 or 5 years postpartum. I'm 2 years in. Someone said 2 years. I'm here. Just like, your hormones go back to normal at 2 years. I was like, okay.
No. This is wrong. Your hormones go back to normal. You are forever changed. You're forever changed.
Forever. But I think, again, okay, so then another question that I had, which is what Diana's talking about, is parenting is hard in general, point blank, period. But we just got out of Nori's just starting to say a couple of words. So it's like, okay, we can interact. You want arroz? Oh, I can give you arroz. You want mas? Oh, with sign language, I can give you mas. There. You want mas? Okay. So that part is getting easier.
Everything I see kids doing is the mas. But then,
but the tantrums are not easy. He's a mama's boy through and through. Ham and I are doing, Ham is my husband, we're doing this thing where we're trying to regain part of our like alone time again. So Saturday and Sundays, we take turns. So back when Nori was an infant and he was waking up every 2 to 3 hours on the clock, like an alarm clock, we would have shifts. So now we're going back to those shifts where Saturday mornings, I'll take him until his nap time. His nap is like 12 to 2. And Ham can have his alone time. He can do the things that he needs to do, get a haircut, I don't know, go and batting practice, different things that he wants to do. Sundays, I do the same thing. He takes Nori and I have my morning to myself so I can do writing or learning my lines or meditating or whatever it is, like my alone time, things that I need to do. So that has been working really, really nicely. However, he's a mama's boy through and through. This morning, I had to hide. I can't make myself known because if he hears me in the bathroom upstairs, if he hears me moving around, he's like, "Mommy, mommy, mom, it's over. It's over."
The people in the world who have the ninja's feet ever
Toddlers.
are mothers or fathers, parents, guardians of kids under 4 years old.
Yeah.
You are like, your feet is barely touching. If you have hardwood floors like I do, and they're like from World War II, the problem. Because there's a little like squeaky no matter what. And so, I really wasn't getting away. Because then you see that head twitch, or like you hear the, right, exactly, the mom, and it's just fear. Just,
I hear you. I'm deep in there. So anyway, this shift work is helping a lot, but it's still hard. Life is still hard. Like he needs us a lot, right? Obviously. So whenever I ask parents, okay, when does this get easier? The tantrums, the like being attached. The 1 second he's happy, next second he's on the floor crying.
That's 5. That's 5 years old.
What?
No, D, it's not 4. 4, they're so tired.
We've had this conversation, and people, including you guys, have said 3. Just make it.
No. No. The way I said the
language.
tension would go away at 3.
It also depends on the kid. Because like Zoe turned a strong corner at 3. But you have to remember, her first 2 years were difficult. She had like a strong personality. So like it was very distinct in my head when that shift happened. But you have like KG who's kind of like more chill like throughout. And then you have kids who like are energetic forever, so it does depend on the kid.
Yeah. Maybe that's the answer, because no matter who I ask, they either say 3, 4. The other day I was at Sephora. She was like, "Oh no, it's your entire life." Like,
no, well, because the challenges shift. The challenges, it's still challenging, but the challenges, they morph into other, it morphs. It's just not the same. Like when they're 3, mommy, tantrums. And because that's normal for a 3-year-old, like it's normal for a 3 or 2-year-old to tantrum and to not be able to rationally communicate with you. That's normal. That is not probably, what you would expect of a 7-year-old, right? But then 7-year-olds are now in 1st grade or 2nd grade, and they're dealing with other things that they're about to go into puberty. Like, so the challenges shift, but in terms of having like a rational conversation with your child, it is like, science tells us that really does begin around 5, just because I think it does depend on the kid too, but just generally is that their brains can't do that yet. Like they just can't, like, I remember Huli being 3 and having these meltdowns in the morning when I was trying to change him to take him to school, like to daycare. And I learned from this book, How Toddlers Thrive, that it's just his brain is not able to rationalize with you. He doesn't understand get to school on time. He's like, "What do you mean? I don't want to dress in this shorts and this shirt. Like, that's what I don't want to do that." Like they're like little cave people. And then I was like, oh, I have to basically wait him out. So I just wait. I have to be patient and literally look like a pendeja, just sitting there just waiting. And it's true, because you have to sometimes just wait and be patient. And even though you need them to do something, I accept it on those days. I'm going to be late for work. That's what it's going to be, because he has to change, like brush his teeth. I got to get him in the car. I got to get him to school. So let's leave the house with him being a little bit okay. And that means I have to wait for the tantrum to subside. He is still an emotional child, but nothing, he's like night and day, because you're older, right? And Dali, who's 4, who's going to be 5, she has her moments where she's like, and she falls on the floor, and then she looks at you like, "Are you looking at me? Are you looking at me?" And then I'll say, "Párate, get up." Sometimes when I see her do that, I'm like, get up. Like, so again, we talk like there's this, I wouldn't say a balance, but like there's like a dose of like, get up, get it together, and a dose of come here, tell me what happened. How can I help you? There's like, you gotta, it can't be all, oh, we validate every feeling, we do everything. And it can't be that, because then kids walk around without any kind of backbone or any kind
Sounds
of
like
resilience.
a grounded version of gentle parenting.
We
Copyright them.
texted
Grounded.
this. We
Grounded.
texted about this, right? Like you can't, it has to be both, where you have elements of, I would say like intentional parenting, right? Where in the moments that really matter, you got to come intentional. But these little things that happen off and on, where like, your kid doesn't want to put their shoes on in the morning, you get one shot. Hey, can I help you? How can I help you? And put on your shoes. We need to go. Like you can't always constantly be coddling your child or being like, how do you feel? And let me validate that feeling. I understand. It is hard. You're having a hard time. You can't do that all the time, because that's not actually building resilience in them.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean being harder on them. It just means sometimes I tell Huli this all the time. Sometimes you have to do the things you don't feel like doing because you just have to do them. Not everybody likes to do everything. And then there are other times where I'm like, hey, let's talk about what's going on and why you're finding it hard to do this. Like, again, balance, or not a balance, but you have the situation.
You have a term that's called warm demander. And it's kind of, it's that.
What's it called, D? What's it called again?
Warm demander. It's a theory. I have to find who the actual theory is from. I can't remember. It's like a matrix. The goal, like vision of the goal educator, is to be a warm demander, to be supportive and to be like an open ear and understanding, but also to hold a certain expectation of the child, and then to welcome them in the next day and continue to be, regardless of what happened the day before, to like continue to be warm, but to continue to hold them to a certain level of expectation. So
I love that. Warm demander. Love that.
Why isn't that more in the dialogue of parenting? Also, can I just say that I had to, I take breaks off Instagram, because my feed is generally pretty like inspirational, motivational, but even too much of that is too much for me. The parenting stuff, I think sometimes is overload. It's like constantly like, say this to your child when they come home. 10 ways to ask them how their day was. If you're not asking these questions at night, you don't really know your child. And I'm like, parents do not need
it's a lot.
External noise about how they're not doing enough. Let me tell you.
I recently took a break from like all of it, and I was like, oh my God. I found so much more peace in my day.
Yes.
But yeah, between parenting and self-improvement, I'm like, when am I ever going to implement this if I'm always watching this video? You're learning my parenting.
Right.
How do we balance that though? How do we balance the like wanting to learn? We love to learn. Because all of us do. We love to be challenged. We love to grow, with like the being part you were talking about, Carla.
I'm going to defer to you guys on that one. I love that. I'm still working on it. No. I do have a tendency. I'm trying to look for balance, like really like, and like you guys said, just same thing. I tend to overlearn before doing. So I am trying to be aware of that so that I do it, even if I am afraid, even if I feel unprepared, even if whatever. I do spend my mornings reading a chapter of a book and my commute listening to a chapter of a book. So I'm always learning. It's a part of me now. But I also have to make it a thing where I do throughout the day as well. So no more looking for what's the best way to audition for roles. And I just have to do it. Even if I look at it later and I'm like, oh, I don't like this word, but that was very cringe. Like, watch myself in a video, right? The other day I had to audition for a role and I was procrastinating, right? Because I was like, oh, I don't have the right lighting. I don't have the right mic. I don't have the right background, whatever. So the deadline was coming up and it was like the day before. And actually I was on my way to see Bad Bunny for the weekend in PR. Amazing. Well, I'll do that monologue at the airport while how much I procrastinated, right? Everything else was ready. At that point, it was too late. So I had done a bunch of videos, a bunch of monologues on like my own from before. So I looked through my phone and I found one and I looked it over because I had hearted it. And I looked at it, and it had been months since I had done that one. And it was so good. And I remember at the time thinking, at least this version of me thought it was so good. At the time, when I immediately looked at it that same day, I was like, oh, ew, I can do that better. I need to do this again. I'm never sending this out. I ended up picking that one and sending it out. So sometimes that space like helps a little bit too.
Yeah.
But wait, what was the original question?
I was just doing. It was that. It was just doing, like, the difference between preparing yourself, like being an everlasting preparation for something, as opposed to just like jumping in and doing
being in it.
I feel like you both, myself included too, but like are very much in a space of being also and doing. And I think like part of it is acknowledging when you are doing stuff. Like we're so focused on like self-improving, so you never feel like, the goalpost conversation is like you never feel like you're there, because there's always like 10 more things to be productive or whatever, but we're like to not 10 things to not be productive, whatever the thing that we're focusing on. But we are doing things, and we're getting closer to doing things that, like Aditi was saying before, you're cutting out things that aren't on your top priorities, and you are doing, like, you felt that resistance, but you still sent the video in, like, I don't think the point is to get around the resistance. I think that's just a natural default.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's okay. I don't think that that's the whole point, is to kind of get to this level of perfection where I feel zero resistance. I'm like constantly in a state of flow and presence. BS. I don't know if I can curse, but I think that's BS,
Yes.
So it's just about, just doing having those moments, letting them pass, and then doing the things, which I do think we're doing one.
I'm so grateful for you ladies, because I think when I had expressed that through text as well, like doing too much and blah, 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 and how do you prioritize, and how do you align that to your values, and what are you choosing to work on, especially now in this season of parenting that's sort of limits your time, right? Which is sort of freeing at the same time. And Adivi came out of nowhere with Meditations for Mortals. I listened to the first like 2 minutes. I was like, how needed this? How did she know? And then years ago, Diana recommended something, and it was about what you were talking about, Diana, like the answer is the way through, something like that. The
stoicism, the obstacle is the challenge.
The obstacle is the way.
The obstacle is the way. But it was a book about
Ryan Holiday.
Mm-hmm. The way you guys, you're my angels, because anytime I need something, it's like y'all like direct me towards where I need to go. And I'm like, wow, the universe works for me and my friends.
I am abundant.
I am abundant.
Well, it's to me naturally.
But no. I know it's just one quick thing, Aribi. Something has to be said too when I think of you ladies also. And this has to do with the writers' retreat from this summer. We all come from a long line of alchemists. Latinos are alchemists. We take what we have and we build something new. Like, I can get into a whole conversation as to why I think salsa music represents us so well, because you take something, you build, you put onto it, and you transform it. I mean, if you look at the history of salsa, different people will say different things, but it was born in New York, and it was born out of influences from Cuban, Puerto Rican, and Dominican cultures. Like, all of these cultures were involved together. And even if you go on beyond that, and the roots of Cuban song and Puerto Rican bombi plena and Dominican everything, right? There's our ancestry, you can see it through there, especially the African ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these mixing of cultures in New York, and all of a sudden salsa is born. Like, they take all of their cultures, their backgrounds, and they're in this new place, new language, etc. Even though these cultures are all very similar, they're very different, and they have very different histories. Somehow you come together, you put all these instruments together, and you make this beautiful new genre of music called salsa. Which, by the way, whenever, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I hear it, my ancestors are dancing inside. I hear each one. And it keeps transforming too, which is just amazing. So salsa just represents us in general as Latinos.
I love that. I love that. I actually, because I thought salsa was born in Cuba.
Some
Why?
people,
Why do I think that? Why do I think that?
because some people will argue that because of huge song influence,
Yeah.
funk
Okay.
and rumba, that was really strong. But really, it was New York. New York was the birthplace of salsa. I forget if it's the Bronx or.
You would love it to be the Bronx, Miss
Of
Bronx.
course, that's why I don't want to say the wrong thing, and then the Harlem people come after me. But I want to say it's the Bronx because hip hop was also born in the Bronx, and hip hop has a similar little history there. But again, it depends on who you talk to. But I like to look at it as all these cultures coming together in a place where you're thinking you're leaving behind your country, your people, your culture, but really you're bringing that with you. That doesn't go anywhere. And Bad Bunny said it best. Like, no matter where I go, yo voy a traer Puerto Rico en alto. Like, I'm bringing Puerto Rico with me. So whether you're a Latino that
There was a meme I saw that said, "Oh wait, there's a concert and then there's a game around the concert."
Right, exactly.
exactly.
I heard
exactly.
there's a game that's going to be happening.
Yo, when that last Bad Bunny concert, the one that was streamed, every Dominican was like, I'm Dominican, but today I'm proud.
I'm Puerto Rican.
Right. I know we made a little reverse old country migration moment during the summer.
Oh yes, we did. Yes, we did.
But that, you know what you were saying, when you were talking about the salsa, it was making me think about, and it's something like that I've always known going a lot to PR in my life, but being in DR for almost a month, there's like a resourcefulness there that, and I presume like a lot of countries as well in the world, but there's like a level of resourcefulness that you use what you have. And I was thinking about this as I was walking over the door that was put on a ditch to like, so there was just a house door somebody put, right? Like we were at a baseball game and then we like go to the car and then like, so someone just took somebody's door and put it over this big gaping hole that was there. And it was just, you use your resources, use your human resources and like the people around you, the family around you, the community around you. You use anything to make life better and to make it functional, but make it better not only for yourself, but for other people. And there's a real like dedication to making sure that other people enjoy life as well and like going above and beyond. And it's something that's very much how my family is. And my father was especially that way, doing 20 times as much to whether it's like moving people in, driving people places, supporting them. And there's just a giving nature. And I think it just connects really well to just wanting to see people enjoy life. And I think that's what I'm really happy that the kids got to, there'll be many opportunities in life, but like, I'm glad that they got that opportunity to see that that's how life can work, regardless of your financial wealth. And what you have or what you don't have, which is relative anyway. But
that resourcefulness is everything, right? Can you talk a little bit about your summer? Because that was amazing. And I'm hoping to join you next summer. So
yeah.
Me too.
I decided I wanted to go to PR, but
Wait, no, I thought we were going back to DR. Oh
no, we are.
Okay.
But I would say last year, but like every single person and their mother was in PR to see Benito, like our friend.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me make the reverse trip and go, however many miles to the west. Yeah. So yeah, and I mean like, and I think it's that trip was when I took the kids to Cabarete and Playa Encuentro over there, and they did surf camp, they did like cultural trips and all kinds of stuff. People leading those activities, but and so much of the travel was cool because we went to the resort a couple of years ago. And which is fine. It was like easy. It's like it's sterile. It's simple. There's a time and a place for a resort, I think. And and I had younger kids, and it's just simple. But now that they're a little bit older, 10 and 13, almost 13, it's nice for them to see. Because when we came back from the resort, kids just like, wow, I'd love to live like they live in DR. And I was like, they don't live there.
Yeah.
The resort, like they obviously that's what they were experiencing, so that's what they felt, right? Which obviously it makes sense. And I was like, we'll go back and we'll go again to PR. We'll see how people really live and experience like that. But it's the small things. It's like what I remember from going to PR. It's like the almonds falling on the street, right? It's like those plastic chairs that are in every restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Like that almost break you. Feel like when you sit back, you're like, "Ooh," right? It's that. It's like the dog, like them stray dogs that are just rolling around. That's how you know. When you know what a spot is like a hit, they got them stray dogs just floating around there. You know, so it's little stuff like that I feel like, and you know, like I said before, like meeting and interacting with people who will drive you here, will make sure that you get to this place or make sure your water's refilled or, you know, whatever the thing is that is important for them to see, like that humanity, or like riding a motoconcho or whatever, you know, like there's so many little things, you know, or you were in a taxi, right? And, you know, you ask, oh, I'm hungry. He's like, oh, you want me to stop somewhere? Yeah, let's stop here. If you in an Uber here, if you stop, you got to put it in the app. And you got to make sure that, you know, it turns around the time, right? Like it's more regimented here. And there's not a better or worse. It's not about comparing in that sense, because there's benefits and there's beauty to both places and countries. So it's like, it's not about that, but it's just kind of bringing that essence here also. You know?
Yeah. It reminds me of my dad in DR has avocado trees, mango trees, guineito trees, which is like green bananas that you can boil, guanabana trees. And sometimes when it's avocado season and mango season, it's too much for him, obviously. Like he lives by himself, so he's not going to eat 39,000 avocados. So he has to share, and he does it so like openly, right? And he first goes to his neighbors and his family and starts handing out, oh, I got this. Then after a while, it's like, you know how they have in DR and PRs, I don't know if in PR so much, but in DR, they have more like a wall and then gates, and it's sort of like an opening in front of the house. So he'll set mangoes and aguacates there for anyone that's passing by to pick up. So now it's the thing, whether it's like boys going to baseball practice. Yeah.
And you write a children's, first of all, your father is the cutest little thing. Can you please, so you're doing abuelas, down with it. Can you please write a like avocado story about your adorable little?
Oh, please hold. There's a book by Angie Cruz called Angélica y la Guira. Angélica, I recommend it. I have the English version because when I bought it, it was only in English, but I wish I would have gotten the Spanish. But the grandfather, Nori, my son, looks at the grandfather and he's like, that's Yayo. Yayo. That's what he calls my dad. Yayo. It looks exactly like my dad.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, Angie Cruz has the same dad as I do, so I can't write him up.
But does he have avocado?
Y mango.
He was at campo, so he had a lot of stuff. But the story was about a guira that was being handed.
All right, not about an avocado.
Exactly.
Come on, see?
You still have a story to tell.
Yeah,
That's true. 100%. Jorge will be in a story at some point. But yeah, it's that community piece. It's that warmth. Once you land and you're clapping, all of a sudden community is born, where I think I have to, at least for me, I have to work a little harder here to make sure that I find my community, that I have my community, that I'm watering that community. Whereas whenever I'm in DR, it's just there. Like the neighbors already know to come by and get some mangoes or aguacates.
I think for me, it's the outward thing, but it's also like the internal piece of like just treating other people in that way and continuing to do that. You know, I guess I was at flag football yesterday and with Zoe, and like another parent takes a bus, you know, and so we were leaving and she was like, and I don't usually drive, but I drove yesterday, and she was just like, oh, do you think you could take me to the bus? And I was like, even in my head, I was like, I should have just asked her that, like before that, like knowing that I should have just like asked, oh, do you want me to take you somewhere? And then as I'm driving, and I was like, what would Juan Ramon do? So I'm like, which is my father. So I was like, let me just take her home. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, but that wasn't instinctual, because like especially in New York City, in USA, like you're very like, you know, you're just thinking of like where you have to go, what you have to do, like, your next, like, I have an itinerary, I have this and that to do. And I was like, I didn't like really have an itinerary. Like I did, but I didn't, you know? So like just having those kind of moments be a little bit more natural, just come from my mind of like, sure, I can take or help somebody, you know, who's here with their kid.
100%. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't have, even with like friends, like a lot of people, all they really do is like their job and their family. And by their family, I mean their immediate, like the immediate family that lives in their home. or like if they're
Yeah.
single
You don't
parents.
have that community like that.
But I think but like you said, like here, you need to make more of the effort. I think here, you have to be super intentional about spending time with people. And now, there are those memes about how when you were like in your 20s, let's go out, and you can go out right away. But then once you have kids and you're doing a big job and you're doing all these things,
You gotta plan it too.
you got to plan it. But yeah, you got to when are you available? What Saturday are you available? Where before I was like, no, we just go out and have a good time. And you have to just be more intentional about it. And that I think people have trouble with that because, I don't feel like going. And I'm like, you know what? There is like, I have a handful of people that are like speed dialed, like you guys, right? Like I'll text you guys. We always are talking. And I have other people too, who I always will like, hey, checking in with you. Then I'll see them for lunch, or I'll see them for dinner, or I'll just catch up with them, go for a walk with them. And doing that like consistently like becomes your community of people, so you don't feel so isolated all the time. And I just think people feel alone because you have to respond to people who text you, and then you have to text people, and you call someone or FaceTime them, right? Like you got to put in the effort, or you're not gonna have the support that you may want. And I hear this a lot too. Your environment is so important, like who you surround yourself with. Like you guys are like, we've talked about this before. The three of us are we have growth mindsets, and we all are pursuing passions alongside responsibilities and obligations that we have. We don't have this like ability to just say, I'm just going to go like travel the world for 3 years and do whatever. Like we're not in that position to do that. But we find a way to make things work for us. And I always get inspired by both of you with what you're doing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to level up. I need to sit and write this thing out. Okay, Carla's doing a monologue. I got to stop being so pissed off when I see a video of myself and I'm like judging myself. I have to stop that, or I have to just be kinder to myself. There are things that really matter when it comes to your own mindset when you're around people who have a leveled up mindset. And I also have to look, if you're around people who've been the same for 20 years, that's not where you need to be. There's a leveling up that you do need to do, and you do need to surround yourself with people who care about you and know you and love you and will uplift you, because I also know a lot of people who have friends who are horrendous. I'm like, they're not kind people. Like, why would you? They were high school friends, and people change, and you've changed, and they're the same, So I think knowing which friendships to hold on to, being intentional about that, and creating a community for you where you feel like I'm growing and these people help me grow, I think is important.
I think that word intentional goes back to that free will that we were talking about in the beginning also. Yeah. It's like, yes, be surrounded by people that will bring you up, but also not everyone will be that all the time.
Yeah.
So I know I've struggled with this sometimes too, because it's like, I want people to inspire me all the time.
I know. No, you're right. You're right. No, it's true. Not everybody's going to do that.
But there are friends that maybe it's not so much inspirational, but they bring something else to our space.
Connection.
But it's that, Evie, you're right. It's that intentionality, like knowing that intention, like, okay, also even family members. There's been family members, unfortunately, that I'm like, oh, I'm not going to that family function because I don't want to hear that I'm fat for the 30,000th time. Like, stop it. Or what am I doing with this? Or I'm ugly.
Too skinny.
Like, you have no. By the way, it's never good enough. It's never good enough. You're either too fat, too skinny, you didn't do your hair, your hair's frizzy. Why don't you put, lipstick on your face? And let me tell you, I'm gonna say this because I have discovered this truth for myself, is that the root of my not enoughness is that when you're younger and who you are just isn't, it's just not enough. It's just not. Yeah. And even though someone else would have interpreted things said or not said out loud, I interpret them differently, right? So like everyone is different. Everyone has their own, internalizes messages differently. But I internalize judgment as I'm not enough. Some people may not have done that, but I did. And then when you get praised for doing well in school, and you get praised for having achievements, you're like, oh, I'm enough when I'm doing that. But just me being here and showing up as I am with my frizzy curly hair, you don't want to do your hair? You don't want to put gel in it? I'm like, no, I didn't fucking feel like it. So I did. But that's why
I love that for you, Arivi. I love that for you, that you're waking up to that. To like, I'm also, I think the moment I woke up was when I had Nori and I realized I was trying to do all the right things, the parenting things, right? Like limit the screen time, do this, do that. And then I had a family member say, hey, how come you don't let him watch TV? You're too strict. And I was like, oh, so it's not me. It's you. Yeah. The waking up happened for me. You guys,
nothing is good. Nothing, because there's always something to say. There's always something to say. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't know about other cultures, because I didn't grow up in another culture. But Latino culture is very much like that. It is harsh. I find it to be harsh. But it also is so expressive and beautiful. Like, I love that we can express ourselves and we're so amable and it's just so much love and expression. But with the expression is the negative stuff too.
But
and you get all of it.
It's everyone is just passing down.
Yes.
Oh, it's a trauma response. Yes. No, wait. We can unpack, but it's a trauma response. It's survival mindset. It's to protect you. It's so that people don't say things about you. So you listen.
You know what was helpful? You recommended some book. It was Everything is Figure Outable.
Everything is Figure Outable.
Okay.
Portfolio.
And I remember one of the things she says, no matter who you are, half of the world will hate you. Like, no matter what your identity is. Yeah. Like, man, woman, culture, ethnicity, race, where you live, the country you live, the state, like, you will be disliked or hated by someone, literally no matter what you do, whether you're a parent, whether you're not a parent, you know what. And so she's like, obviously easier said than done, but her whole chapter was on like letting that go, like understanding that and being okay with that, because when we're trying to continually please, it's not, and I learned this in leadership too, right? You make a decision and you're like, okay, now we've got it. And then these people complain. So you make another decision. You're like, okay, now we've got it. And then other people complain. You're like, okay, right. And you just go in this kind of constant cycle until you're like, all right, look, 90%, 89% of people are happy. I'm good. That's what's got, right? For now, But it does like relieve some of that need to impress everyone when you realize somebody hates you no matter what, no matter what you do. Or just like,
if anything, it's a recipe for humor. We're funny as hell as a culture.
And by the way, we're so much fun. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, I live in a very homogeneous suburb at this point. And let me tell you, I be playing my Bad Bunny Nueva York all the time. I play Latina Forever, Carol G, and I put that high, and people are like, in the car, and I'm like, and what? I was like, and I don't want to just put in the window, lawyer, corporate. Like, so you see, Latinos, we're so diverse, okay?
Oh, God. No. I came back from PR for the Bad Bunny concert, and I was on such a high. So proud of being Boricua, even though I'm Dominican.
Always been proud to be Boricua on the road.
Say that you're actually Puerto Rican, but you
just let her be. I gotta let her be.
No. Benito did something chef's kiss. Like, I cried in the beginning of that concert, at the end of the concert. But I came back and I was on my way to work. I was driving to work and I blasted Zion and Lennox so hard. Like,
like 2005.
Like Bandera, like all these okay. So they were the guest artists when I went. So I was like, I was in my element. I was like, oh yes, I'm living that life. But I'm like Arivi, like I want to make sure usually, like everyone knows I'm a school psychologist. I'm an educated. I am now developing ready. I went to Boston College. I have 2 masters. I did all these things. But this time, it was like, I don't give an F. I blasted Zion and Lennox so loud. I was like, F 6:45 in the morning. And I don't care. You're going to listen to the line.
What? And what? What you going to do?
My geriatric millennial showing, and I don't care.
Okay, mujeres. I have loved talking to you. I love talking to you. I love you both so much. You know that. I find myself always being motivated by what you guys are doing and following. This sounds corny, but like following dreams and taking. What I take from you guys too is not being in a rush all the time to do that and being okay with that and accepting yourself as you are and appreciating it. Like, I really love that about the two of you. Like, I really, for you guys, and I'm always like, I need to channel my Carla and Diana right now. I need to channel. So I appreciate you, and we'll be doing our retiro thing in December, so I know I'll see you soon. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having her.
No.
Bye.
It's just a blast. Bye.